Thank you, Tess, for that wonderful introduction, and thank you to Creative Mornings for inviting us here. Honestly, when we were asked to be a part of this and to speak on the topic of work, our minds went a million places. There's so many different ways that we could talk and approach work, and we thought, first of all, like, oh, of course they talk to us, but like, people think of us as workaholics. This is great. Let's go and talk about we could talk about tips and tricks and how to manage your work and which to-do app do we use. And then as we were meeting, we just realized that wasn't quite right. Okay, so we're back talking about how when you do meaningful work, how consuming that can be.
That's where we were. Thank you. Thank you for that. Okay, so and honestly, the meaningful work that we've done has really paid off. And so we're just going to kind of step back. And it was amazing as we started to prepare for today, we kind of took stock of the things that we've done over the last 7 years and the accomplishments that we've had. And I'm gonna like read them off a list here because it's kind of weird to say it out loud otherwise. So yeah, we've published over 600 artists and writers at Paper Darts. And we began that when we were 23. It was just a humble lit zine headquartered in our living rooms. We printed on little HP printers and sewed them on little Singer sewing machines. And it's amazing that something so small has been able to grow into be a powerhouse in the literary scene. I mean, so many of our writers have gone on to publish incredible works, like Leslie Jamison is just an amazing nonfiction writer, and she's just taking the world by storm, and we were able to publish her when she was just starting out. So yeah, over 600 writers and artists. We've published 5 print magazines, 1 book, 1 vinyl record, 1 poetry chapbook. We've redesigned our website 3 times.
Because once you publish it, it's immediately out of date.
I know.
Always use Squarespace.
That's actually true. We love Squarespace. Mm-hmm. Squarespace has changed our lives. That's true. We've won Best Literary Magazine in the Twin Cities, Best Website in the Twin Cities. We've taken over galleries and museums as large as the MIA. And we're nationally recognized as one of the most creative publications that combines art and story. But honestly, what we're most proud of is that we've helped launch careers of young women in publishing in a way that other local places can't. There aren't that many young women running publishing outlets here in the city, and we've been able to help women in a very welcoming environment get their start there.
And no matter how much we have loved the Paper Darts community and the art community here in the Twin Cities, we were really energized in a place in 2011 to take that energy and invest it into a little different community. Across town, there is a man, Lars Leafblad, who had founded Pollen, which is a newsletter that connects business leaders, executives, CEOs, social-minded people for change in their community. He knows that when people are better connected, when we are networked together, that we are able to create real change. And Meghan and I were hungry to see what it would look like to invest our time that we had learned in art and story into Pollen, and to take Pollen to the next level and take that community into a place to where it could really thrive with a foundation of art and story. And we took that passion, we took our love for art and story, networking and technology, and completely threw ourselves into Pollen. By the end of 2013, and we're still doing Paper Darts at the same time, and these are both volunteer passions of ours, so we are holding down full-time jobs in addition to Pollen and Paper Darts. And then at the end of 2013, we received a $1.5 million investment to take Pollen to the next level, to operationalize it, to take it from a volunteer-run organization and see what it could look like with resources. Right after we launched our new Pollen website, we were shortlisted for a Webby honoree, and we were beat out for best community website by just another little organization called Tumblr. Hashtag humble brag. And we have also been able to fairly pay and invest in over 50 Midwestern artists and writers throughout the region. We have been able to invest in story and art in a way that nobody else is doing, not in the Midwest, not on the coasts. And we have redefined what networking looks like for a community of 10,000 plus entrepreneurs, leaders, executives, nonprofits, good do-gooders, startup people, social activists, and we are so proud of the immense work that we have put into pollen and paper darts.
And so it's been a lot of work, honestly. You wake up, you go to work, you go to sleep, you wake up, you go to work, you go to sleep, you wake up, you go to work, you go to sleep. That's been our lives for the last 7 years. And honestly, we do not believe in work-life balance. It's not a thing. We don't like it. We only believe in work. We only believe in life.
It's just like one thing.
It's one thing.
Yeah.
It's all one thing. And we don't believe in like the bar class after work that saves your soul, and we don't believe in like the meditation app on your phone that's like really helping you out. Like that's fine for you, that's great, but that's not what's been working for us. That has not helped us keep our sanity. It just makes us more nervous that we're not getting our work done. The thing that has saved us, the thing that has kept us sane, has been each other. It's been our relationship. It has been our work-wife balance, not the work-life balance. It's been able to keep us focused, energized, and fresh in a way that I would imagine that bar class might be for other people.
Meghan and I are work wives. If you know us, if you follow us on social media, especially me, Meghan doesn't like do the whole Facebook thing, but I'm constantly talking and taking selfies of us and talking about our work-wife relationship and what it means to show up to work every day with your best friend. We have been working together for the past 7+ years, started our relationship in a work-based relationship, and it has grown into the deepest friendship. And one of the things, when you show up every day with your work wife, and you show up every day and you work with your best friend, you are showing up to work naked. You are completely exposed and vulnerable in who you are and who you bring to work, because that best friend, that work wife, knows everything about you, and there's no place to hide. Our work is very creative, and creative work has to be authentic in order for it to be powerful. And working with your best friend, it keeps your work authentic, it keeps you real, it keeps you raw, and it keeps you human. Every day when I see Meghan at work, I know that I have to just be my human self. I have to be exposed. And that has made it possible for us to complete the amount in the body of work that we have been able to accomplish. And sometimes life really gets in the way. And life can be really hard and challenging. And it has been this work-wife relationship that has made it possible for us to get through those moments.
So we're going to take this opportunity to talk about work, and we're actually going to use it to explore something extremely vulnerable. And this is pretty serious for two young women to do specifically, because some might say this might feminize us, but we're confronting specifically two moments that defy, honestly, everything we've been told what it takes to be a successful woman in the workplace. And is there a part of you that is terrified?
Yes, I'm like, maybe we should not do this. Maybe we should leave. There's a door right there. Yeah.
No, it's actually very terrifying. But we really do believe that if we talk about work, we talk about life, and we can really talk about how partnership and commitment to each other has been key to our survival and honestly key to our success, especially for women with ambition, Seriously, ambition is a beautiful word to us, and we are ambitious, and we need each other to get where we want to be.
Ambition is not a dirty word. And, as I think about what we're about to share, I'm going to this moment of oh my God, maybe we should do this. I'm picturing we have so many mentors in our lives that would be telling us right now, don't share what you guys are going to share, because you need to have your work be at the forefront of what you're doing and not these personal moments, because you're going to genderify yourself, you're going to feminize yourself, it's not leaning in, and so in this moment, Meghan and I, we're going to say, screw those mentors that have tried to tell us that, and mentors are out, work wives are in, we are sick of looking for the adult in the room to give us permission and approval, and we are not going to ask for permission, we're also not going to ask for forgiveness. So, here we go.
And again, I am so lucky here because I get to bring in one of my heroes into the conversation. And I'm going to bring in Virginia Woolf. And I love that lady, I tell you. She's
She's got a tattoo.
Yeah, I do. I have a tattoo of Virginia Woolf, and I'm always looking for an excuse to bring her into a conversation. And she says, you know, if you do not tell the truth about yourself, you cannot tell it about other people. And as creatives, we are in the business of telling truths about other people. So here we are, 2 moments that tell our truth, 2 moments when we really needed a work wife. And these moments are the foundation of all of our work. So, it's so funny. So we have literary magazine, and they're like literary readings. They're the worst. We hate literary readings. Have you ever been to them? They're awful. We do 5 a year. They're terrible. Anyway, so I'm going to try this. I mean, I am going to read a little bit as we go through here because it's pretty hard. It's pretty personal. So, for all of our sakes, I'm going to try that. So, I'm going to talk a little bit about my divorce. This big, gross, ugly life thing that happened to me in the middle of when I was, really taking great strides in my work. And I'll put it in the context of Jamie and I. So we work great together, and we know this. But that's not the secret to a perfect work-wife relationship. The secret weapon is this. When life is beautiful, and you wake up in your sunny apartment with money in your bank account, and you get in your car that is filled with gas, and maybe it's brand new, and you go to your job that you love with your coworkers that absolutely adore you. You better be a really good fucking work wife in that moment, because that's the easiest time it is to be a good work wife. It's when life is devastating, when life won't let work exist on its own little island, that is when you need a work wife the most. And I'm gonna start crying now, don't do it, okay? All right. So, Jamie and I are both super into marriage. I don't think it's an accident that we are work wives. We were both in our early 20s when we shacked up, went to the chapel, and got married. Not to each other, and not to one man, but 2 separate men. But then, suddenly, my marriage was not working for me. It actually probably never did, but nobody wants to see a marriage fall apart in the way that my marriage fell apart. What happens is people pretend not to see the mess. And I was really good at pretending the mess was nothing more than a minor spill on the kitchen floor. A minor spill of milk on the kitchen floor. See what I did there? I was trying to, okay. Anyway, the mess it was, though, is if someone took a fleet of dairy cows and released their udders onto the linoleum. That was the mess I was in. Because I married a man that suffered from severe alcoholism. And I don't think I understood what it took to be a strong, independent woman, even though I was raised by them, because the women that I was raised by didn't want to look strong. They wanted to look a certain way. I might have well grown up in the 1950s. The word feminazi was in regular rotation, particularly reserved for the teachers in the public school system because we were Catholic and staunchly so. My stuffed animal was named after Rush Limbaugh. My father gave me Ann Coulter books for my birthdays. Oh, marriage was the heart of everything. I had many goals as a young girl, but my parents told me over and over I was put on this earth to be a housewife. I was a woman, and to be a wife was the highest honor. And I was a wife to an alcoholic. The weird thing was I didn't know it. At first I thought he had a brain tumor. My skinny, nerdy engineering student was morphing before my eyes. His eyes would droop, his speech would slur, he got mean, he would disappear, he would come back, he got meaner. We lived together for about a year before I started to find his hiding spots. Bottles and bottles and bottles and bottles. Little teensy bottles of vodka, as if drinking lots of small bottles was better than drinking from the barrel it would have taken to quench his thirst. Meaner and meaner and meaner, and dumber and dumber and dumber, honestly. At first, when he hit, he would make sure it was a smart shove, made sure not to leave a mark. Turns out, I don't bruise very easily. In fact, I only remember being bruised once or twice in my entire life, which is convenient for moments like that. And I will say that there are some trigger warnings here for anyone that may have them. And you may want to leave, or stay, because it's a happy story in the end, I promise. The one day, this is a bad part though, honestly, the one day he threw a glass lamp at my head, and I had pretty intense scrapes across my cheeks and my lips. And I had a work meeting. I had to go to work, and so I did. And I saw Jamie, and we had we had a lot of work to do. We were in the middle of putting on a book for Paper Darts. And she's like, what happened? It's like, oh, my cat. And that was it. So that was it. The next day, Jamie came over. She sat down in my living room and she said, I am leaving you unless you leave him, and you gotta do it, or I'm gone. And I loved Jamie. I loved my work. I actually loved my husband, weirdly, but I left. And we did so much work that year, and that work saved my life. My work life saved my life. The work saved my life. All those accomplishments we talked about in the beginning of the presentation, specifically on paper darts, and right about the time we started getting Pollen off the ground, was exactly the time that I was leaving my marriage and going into even deeper this amazing work-wife marriage with Jamie. Sorry.
No, I have to follow that.
You know, the thing is that, I'll say this for you, because you're adorable and crying right now, because she's such a good work wife. But it's really, we use these moments, and even the one that Jamie's about to share, we use them before we go into these big, big events. Like, we had to present to a woman who was responsible for giving us $1.5 million for Pollen, and we're sitting there in the car, and we're looking at each other, and like, we use this moment of intimacy, and we know that we have each other's back to help fuel those moments of pure terror.
Okay, I'm gonna fuel.
Okay, you can do it.
I said I shouldn't cry because I'm an ugly crier. You know how some people are really graceful criers? I was a super graceful crier. And I'm like, it's not so good. Okay. So, true story here. When Meghan and I got this opportunity to turn Pollen into a startup, we made a pact with one another. And I don't know if any other ladies here have made a pact like this, but ours went like this: don't get pregnant. And I think we were half joking with each other, but it was like half joke. We were like, no, seriously, don't get pregnant because we have a lot of work to do. And like, let's hold off for 3 or 5 more years. And we're so young, we're under 30, like, let's just wait. And we were both very committed to that pact. And then one day we were out to eat at a restaurant, and we're sitting there, and it's kind of a sharing story for too many people, but Meghan was like, Jamie, do you have a feminine product? And we're work-wives, so you're completely in sync. And oh shit, I don't. Where's my period? Meghan has hers, where's mine? Where are you? And I just knew at that moment that I was pregnant. And my husband, he's been wanting it for a long time. So when I took the test, he had tears of joy, and I also had tears. But they were not tears of joy. And I didn't realize until very recently, now that I've kind of gone through the pregnancy, those first feelings that I had in those early months of pregnancy, throughout, and even into the early months of my daughter's life, like this sadness. And I know now, looking back, that was pure devastation. And I was completely gutted and devastated to find out I was pregnant. And I don't think that it's something that I have a lot of orientation to, that feeling, because as a married young woman and knowing I was wanting kids, that I should feel nothing but joy. But I was really scared about how my identity was going to change. And somebody who is so connected to their work and identifies as somebody who works a lot and accomplishes a lot, how is this time it was going to take for me to become a mother and have a child and to be pregnant and to be tired, and I was going to have something that was going to take away from my work, and I was going to have something that was going to start to redefine me in other people's eyes. And it was really devastating. And I have been trying to navigate what it looks like
millions and billions of women before me, taught my body what to do, taught my body how to change, how to bend, how to stretch. It got bigger. It just opened. My body opened. It ripped open, literally. And there was this moment, and I had a water birth, and I reached down, and I pulled my baby out, and I pulled her up onto my chest. And I thought, I've done it. I have made my greatest piece of work. I have produced something. This is not reproduction, this is production. I have produced a great piece of work. And in this moment, I thought, oh my God, I have traveled back in time, I have traveled millions of years back in time, and I have experienced the history of womanhood. And I also had a thought that was like, what's all this buzz about 3D printers? Because 3D printers have nothing on women. We've been 3D printing babies since the beginning of time, and that's incredible. And in this moment, I'm still trying to discover who this new body is, who this new biology of cells has become, and what does it mean to still work. And I'm not just working, I'm the co-leader of the organization, trying to lead staff, trying to have a vision, while also trying to have a vision for my tiny little daughter and become a mother. I'm trying to navigate breastfeeding. I'm trying to figure out how to breastfeed and pump in an office that doesn't have any private room, so I just pump at my desk in the middle in front of all my staff. I have some staff here that have seen me bust it out and start pumping. And I have a pack and play next to my desk, and there are days that I bring my daughter to work, and we all take turns kind of co-parenting on those days. We help watch her play, we help take care of her, and those are the best days. And those are the days that are really recharging, where I feel like a tiny bit sane. And I know without a doubt that the only reason that I am comfortable with pumping in the office and bringing my daughter in with really blurring those lines is because of the foundation of work-wifedom that Meghan and I have as co-leaders for this organization. It opens up the space for us to bring our most vulnerable human authentic selves to our work. And it is our work-wife relationship, our wife relationship, that allows me to keep doing my work. We talked about divorce, periods, ripping vaginas open.
Oh, cheers, yeah.
Oh, man. All right. So, honestly, we were thinking about this, and we love the idea of redefining what it means to be a woman, what it means to be a wife, what it means to be a work wife, because we're thinking about how, when we were young, we were told we could be everything. Well, not my parents, but specifically the millennial women were told that we could be everything, that we could, you get married or not, you have children or not, you can become a CEO of a tech startup and bring your dog to work. They can take over the world, and it's going to be fun, the end. But as millennial women come into power, they're realizing that they might be able to have it all, sure, but it's going to be really hard. And what is it going to take to get us through, and what is it going to take so that we can actually do all of this? And what we're realizing now is that Jamie and I have, because of this amazing investment in us and because of our paths starting together very young, we're kind of getting a glimpse into what it'll be for our generation to lead as women. And this is what we're finding, is that it's almost impossible, and we will need help. We need to have this intimate layer of support, and we need it as a shield to all of the crazy shit the world will throw at us. Sheryl Sandberg is telling us to lean in. Anne-Marie Slaughter tells us to get married, have kids, and have a spouse at home to raise our kids. Kate Bollock tells us, screw that, stay single. Roxane Gay tells us it's okay to be a bad feminist. And what we are telling each other, and now what we're telling you in the circle of work-wifedom, we brought you in, is that it's honestly deeply, deeply, deeply important to just be kind to each other and allow you to be human at work. We have managed a barrage of insults. One of our most we really relied on this woman. She's an older woman that is powerhouse in the local, specifically nonprofit community. And the first thing she heard when we had our grant was say, what do you have to do to get a grant these days? Be young and cute and wear bright lipstick? Oh, completely undermining the work and the vision that we had as young leaders. And it just gets worse from there, honestly. We've had the craziest, weirdest stuff happen as co-leaders and young co-leaders at that. But we're reserving that for our tell-all book. We gave you enough for today. But the one thing that we've learned is that power is real, sexism is real, there are a lot of isms out there, they're all real, and we need allies, and we need compassion, and we need that at work, and we need that at home. It's work, it's life, it's work, we have our wives, it's everything in one. Work and life, it's one thing.
And so now we're getting to the close, and something we just want you guys to be thinking about is maybe you have a work wife. This is really loud. Maybe you have a work wife, and maybe you don't, but maybe you have something that you could pretend is your work wife. Like how can you channel work wifedom in your work, and how can you find humanity for your work so that you can bring your most vulnerable and authentic self to your creative process. And you know that it's in that vulnerability and in that humanity and in that life that really does make for the best and most powerful work. And it's what will keep you energized